Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts, like the chart behind me, which is of United States Antimony Corporation, or ticker symbol UAMY or UAMY. I also wanted to be going over ticker symbol USAR, which is USA Rare Earth. These are both rare earth mining companies. And, they've seen, some pretty big runs recently, but we've seen a pretty big pullback. And I think that, while maybe it takes a little bit of time, I think that these pullbacks are, going to be, potential very good opportunities for establishing positions and then these taken off. I have no idea. And so, disclosure at the beginning of this, I have traded USAR in the past, but I don't hold a position. I do have a position in UAMY. And for me personally, since I've covered USAR a little bit longer, I kind of wish I was holding this one over UAMY just because I have a little bit of a sentimental attachment to it. But, good to put that stuff on the side, so it's probably better that I do hold UAMY. But anyways, one of the reasons why I wanted to go over these is because USAR has returned to a level right around here. It looks like, that's a trend line, but kind of based on the highs from March 17th, that being around $20. I believe I had an alert in my trading account going off at around $20 to $19, somewhere around there, because, big run up here. Now we've pulled back. This is the discount zone following this move. And now maybe we see another one coming up. And I should note, I got all these drawings here. I'll clean them up in a second. But, that was really based on, I had done a video. I'll include a link to it at the end of this one, and we'll include it in the pinned comments. But I had noticed this wedge here, breakout, retest, move higher, and then formed that kind of resistance up there. I didn't expect it to go this high, but it really launched. And just to clean this up, let's remove some of those fib levels. Looks like it went up to the 4236 extension. So that is pretty massive. And actually, yeah, I guess I will clean it up. So let's just do that so we can see, it went up there. And then we have broken below the 786, but that is based on the breakout level and not the lows over here. So I can and will redraw that. And I had suggested in this doodle that we could be seeing, a bounce and a move higher, but we've come lower. So this is, I think, a great example of why it's good to be patient, why it's good to not chase, because, now maybe some people who bought up here, panicking down here, you don't want that. And yeah, I think that we could be seeing another leg higher, like, let's see what kind of move was this following the breakout here. That was, more than a 2x. So now we're back there at that ground level. Maybe we go up a 2x again and maybe form a double top or something. We'd have to evaluate it there. But yeah, let's, okay, so so we got, move up here, get rejected, attempt to get up there, and then another move up here in August, rejected. And so following that pullback, let's do a fib retracement down to the lows there and see how that lines up. So just moving this approximately to the lows. And so now we've kind of, approximately come back to, let's see if I just extend this forward so we can see it. We've approximately come down to the 786, which is around $20 in the pre-market as I record this Monday, November 3rd. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. It's pre-market around 19 bucks, so that's seeming like it's a good discount. But actually, maybe I'm thinking I should extend this fib retracement to the lows over here. Maybe that gives a better picture of, level that this could be coming to the downside. if it does continue lower and if it is right around support. So it looks like the 618, or I should say a fib level, not necessarily support. But yeah, the 618 is right around 20 bucks. We do have the 786 around, let's see, 14. I actually don't think that this is that useful. And the reason for that is because to get to, this red line here, the 786 at around 14, from the white line around where we're at now, it'd have to get through all of this kind of chop, and that prior resistance is going to now be support. So I think that it's unlikely to be getting down to 14. So I'm going to adjust that fib retracement to the lows over here. And let's just consider, some levels that this could be coming down to. If it is at 19, what might be acting as support? And so a level that stands out to me, and actually, sure, I'm proud of them. I'm just going to delete them so we don't have so much clutter on the chart. But a level that stands out to me, and maybe it's kind of a little region, but maybe it stands out to you guys as well. It would be good if it did, so you guys can kind of anticipate what my eye's drawn to. I was initially thinking, right around here, which is around 16 bucks. You can see that there's a top there and over here, but then I kind of, panned out and recognized, hey, this also, kind of has some confluence with that. But then, hey, over here, that lines up very nicely with the tops over here. So I think that $16, if USAR does come down a little bit lower, I would look for 16 to be acting as support, and that could be a real discount, a real dip buying opportunity. And let's see, just some other things before I switch over to UAMY. We haven't necessarily formed the bottom yet, so that's something to think about. I was thinking about, are we forming any kind of bullish divergence with the bottoms? We do have a higher low, and over here in the RSI, that's a lower low. So that's, I believe that would be hidden bullish divergence, but we haven't necessarily bottomed yet. And so as long as we stay above the lows over here, which is around, like I said, 14 bucks or sub 14, the lows look like 13.50, somewhere around there. But another thing that we could do is just extend this. Actually, I don't really want to fudge that drawing up because I'm very proud of it. But, it was significant in the past. Maybe, that extends forward. And that would suggest like by the end of the year, actually, I just want to see how I had that drawn before. Okay, I just want to see these candles did cross below it a little bit, so I can get away with that, maintaining some consistency. Because we have one close below over there. I think I kind of remember that. Anyways, the intersection between this horizontal yellow line, which is right around 16, and that uptrend that I just extended over, that's around the beginning of December, mid to beginning of December. So if this does continue to pull back in that time, that could just be some nice time to be accumulating. So I wouldn't be worrying about that. But like I said, I don't have a position in it. I will follow up on it along with you, Amy. Yeah, I mean, this is really just like, I'll keep my eye on it. And maybe if it does hang out here for a little while, I'll get some more cash on the side. And maybe this would be a nice one to add to. But anyways, you, Amy, let's talk about that one. This one does look like, it has broken below that 786, which is around 9 bucks. I believe I talked about that in the last video, and I'm actually just going to extend that forward a little bit into the future just so we can see those numbers there on the side a little bit better. 786, just below 9 bucks. I believe I mentioned it in the video, but maybe I didn't. I know I mentioned it in a comment, thinking about levels that this could be coming back to. And let's see. Yeah, I probably drew this on my phone, so I might pull up Webull here in a second because this, is what I look at on my phone. UAMY over here. I've got my drawings removed. Yeah. Oh, no. I was thinking about USAR. Actually, I don't know. I'm confused. Anyways, let's think about some levels over here. I know I talked about this. I know I mentioned this in a comment, just the highs over here. And really like getting down to the highs, kind of this U shape here, the highs of the U shape, that's around 7 bucks. 650, I should say, lower than 7. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of in, let's see, this, range here. And that's kind of where we're trading at in the pre-market. It looks like at 719, whereas on Halloween, October 31st, we had a low of 777. Kind of got this, area here might be acting as some very nice support around where we're at. But let's actually go back in time. We can actually do this blindly. But what are the levels over here, which is, man, this goes back pretty far in time. So we do have, highs over here. This is June of 2012. It's around $5. What looks a little bit more compelling to me is like the tops over here with a little blow off top before it broke down. And so I'm just going to put a line over here that's around $4. Kind of devastating being at 7 right now to think about that. And then let's see, oh, okay, then there's some more price action over here. I believe this would have corresponded with, an IPO or something. It looks like, believe it or not, this goes back to 1984. That's pretty insane. But let's just look at like the same kind of idea, actually. We've got, this blow off top and then collapse after this kind of double top. And so let's see where those levels are at. Looks like it's around 660. We do have some price action over here, but I don't really know what's going on with that. So I'm just going to do it based on that level, 660. And then maybe I should just switch this over to the weekly. And so we can see some of those levels. Oh, okay, yeah, so $4, there we go. And actually, okay, so we've got some stuff, those little green specks in the past. Those are actually above where we're at, though, so I don't really find those to be that useful. And based on how the chart looked back then, pre-1984, I think that, 663 actually looks like a decent level to consider. 660, it's not exact. But we can actually look at, a similar kind of pattern over here now that we're looking at the weekly, a little easier to see. Kind of got like this double top here and then blow off top and collapse. So the same exact kind of pattern. That's around $5. So let's just fast forward to the present. And so we can kind of see what we're looking at. And so we do have some confluence here. I'm going to have to fast forward again. Dang it, I should have switched over to the daily then. But yeah, we do have, some confluence. That box here with around 660, let's say 650, somewhere around there. Or if you're like superstitious, maybe the bottom's not around 660 because that could be a 666. And if we do hit that, break below it, $5, $4. So it could be nice opportunities, but kind of comparing this with USAR. Let's see, from where it closed on Friday, looks like about 15, maybe worst case scenario, 20% to the downside. So let's also consider that with UAMY. Just getting a measurement over here. 15, yeah, I mean, that would be coming down to around, and this is based on, coming down from Halloween's close. 17, 18% would be coming down to around 660. Coming to the base of that box would be around 23%. So yeah, I mean, I think that we're pretty close to the bottom with these. I think that these are discounted zone regions. But let's also look at, I don't do this too often, but let's look over at the log scale to see if that looks any better. This looks like, it all looks pretty similar. Let's also look at USAR. That would actually put the 786 below where we're at in the pre-market for USAR at 1885. But let's see, 1731 or right around $17. That would correspond with 786 there. Whereas if I do switch this back to the linear, we are now below that 786. So maybe good to look at that with the log scale on the y-axis. That looks a little bit better. And because this went up so volatile, so parabolic, both of these recently, maybe it's a good idea to be looking at these on the log scale. But anyways, with all that being said, let's look over at some contracts real quick. I know that I covered this $12.50 strike call that expires in February for UAMY because this big spike that we saw on October 21st. Following that, we've seen premium coming down. So it seems like, discount zone opportunity, assuming this contract is still being held. Premiums come down, but we haven't seen big buyers stepping in. Looking at the overall net call and put premium for UAMY, following that spike, we haven't really seen anything stand out as notable as that. But let's look back to October 21st. I'm just going to scroll down here. Oops, not like that, like this. And then I might zoom in a little bit so you guys can see the numbers a little bit better. And so let's see, October 21st is right here. I should also note, though, the Halloween sale ends today, 30% off platform plans for up to 1 year for unusual whales. So just noting that. But coming back down here to actually the 20th, we can see that open interest was around 2,000. Oh, actually, no, don't need to go to the 20th. I could have left up their banner. I'm sorry. Yeah, so on the 21st, we saw open interest of 2,200, increase in volume of 13,451, which led to an increase in open interest of about just shy of 11,000. So following that, open interest was around 13,000. Now open interest at the start of the day, this is why, I kind of waited to do this video. So we have the data here. Open interest from Friday into today continued to go up by another 2,000 contracts. And so we went from this day when we had 13,000 open, looking very bullish, going from 2,000 to 13,000. Now we're at just shy of 22,000. So we've seen nearly an increase of about 10,000 contracts, going up from there. So this is still looking really bullish. This is still looking really good. Sorry, I've got FMST up there, but this is UAMY, the data that we're looking at. But yeah, let's just take a step back from this. So we can then search, let's see, USAR and see if there's anything going on with contracts there that really stand out. I can't do, let's see, highest volume, it's 0 because the day just started. Premium, let's look at the amount of open interest. Let's filter by that. And so we can see this $14 strike call that expires in March of next year, 137 days between now and expiration, has an open interest of 9.4 thousand. So let's just look at that one so we can just kind of get an idea of what's going on. If we go back 14 days, did we see a spike on the 21st like we did with UAMY? Not exactly. So the 21st was over here, actually over here. We didn't see anything stand out on the chart. But a few days later, we did see on October 24th, some big spikes in the premium there. And since that doesn't go back as far in time, I'm going to switch this back to 7 days so we can see those candles a little bit better. This, $1 million candles. And so that does look pretty good. If we do scroll down here to look at the open interest, that was the 24th, I believe. So, this one actually doesn't look as good. We've been seeing decreases in open interest. So maybe UAMY is a better play than USAR. If we do look over here, kind of expanding this to, let's say, back to the past 14 days, it's been kind of like, spaghetti noodles all over the place, with the stock price in yellow coming down, net call and put premium going up and down. If we go back over the past 30 days, we see this nice big top. We see, call premium, net call premium going up into that, and then it coming down near the top. So that seems like people were betting this going long, going up here, and then at the top, taking profits, and then it's kind of been flat recently. So that makes me think that we could be seeing this, settle out a little bit, be boring for maybe another couple weeks or so, maybe through the month of November. And so that would lead to dip buying opportunities, accumulation opportunities for, I would say, both USAR and UAMY. But as far as these two stocks, UAMY, it looks like it has better options data suggesting that this is going to be going higher between now and February. But of course, it could be wrong, and maybe this ends up bleeding down to $5 or $4. So good to have a plan for if that does happen. But looking at the chart, I think that UAMY is likely to find a bottom around where it's at now, or maybe $1 lower, getting down to around 6, and then find support maybe in the month of November before starting to go higher in either December or January prior to February. USAR, same type of thing, but I think that could be finding support around 16. But anyways, as always, those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Hopefully you guys have a great start to your week, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Bye.